In the, in the United States, an older adult has a stroke every 10 minutes. This is the part, though, that hardly anyone discusses. You may be unknowingly raising your risk by taking some of the most reliable supplements you have on hand. Indeed, research now indicates that a single, widely used supplement, which is still advised for millions of elderly people, may increase the risk of stroke by as much as 347% if taken incorrectly or in excess. Furthermore, 99% of senior citizens are unaware. Why? Because genetics and junk food do not account for the majority of stroke risk. Vitamin overdose is the cause. From well-intended medications that thicken your blood, increase homocysteine, alter blood flow, or even harm brain vessels. It doesn't take years either. Within hours, several of these vitamins can alter the chemistry of your blood. Doctors in stroke centers are now strongly advising people over 60 to evaluate their supplement regimens because of this, particularly in the early stages, such as abrupt weariness, dizziness, disorientation, or blurred vision. They might not be getting older. They can be indicators that the blood flow to your brain is already impaired. The worst thing? These vitamins are not obscure. Your daily multivitamin contains these. They are marketed as brain enhancers. Without considering the long-term effects, some are even administered to stroke survivors. However, that ends today. Because we're unveiling the top 6 vitamins, in order of least to most harmful, that might subtly increase your chance of stroke overnight. Even though current research indicates that the #1 item on this list may increase the risk of clotting more than high blood pressure itself, it is being promoted as necessary for seniors. Real science supports every point in this video, and the description includes links to all of the references. Before we get started, please share in the comments the supplements you now use each morning. Everyone in our group is receiving personal counsel from us as we read and answer. Prepare yourselves now. Although the first vitamin on this list seems innocuous, it can subtly impair brain arteries and interfere with blood pressure medications. Let's begin. 6th, artificial vitamin E, often known as dull alpha tocopherol. Among seniors, this is one of the most common misconceptions about supplements. It's likely that you've heard that vitamin E is beneficial to your brain, skin, and heart. Here's the unsettling reality, though. Vitamin E can subtly increase your chance of a fatal brain hemorrhage when taken in its synthetic form, particularly in large dosages. Additionally, this dangerous form is still present in the majority of multivitamins marketed to seniors. Let's dissect this. D-alpha tocopherol, the natural form of vitamin E, is found with a family of related substances termed tocopherols and togotrienols. Your body doesn't metabolize synthetic vitamin E the same way as it does natural vitamin E, which is why it's called dull alpha tocopherol on the label of your pill. Actually, it may prevent other natural E molecules that your brain really needs from being absorbed. This quickly gets dangerous. Why? Due to the anti-inflammatory properties of natural forms of vitamin E, particularly gamma tocopherol. They aid in controlling clotting and shield your blood vessels from oxidative damage. However, gamma tocopherol and other protective forms are suppressed when synthetic E takes over your system. Your arteries become more susceptible to inflammation, stiffness, and clot development as a result of the imbalance. Synthetic vitamin E thins your blood, which is far worse. A healthy young adult might not have any problems with that. However, it poses a significant risk to seniors, particularly if they are currently on clopidogrel, warfarin, aspirin, or any other blood pressure or cholesterol medicine. The British Medical Journal conducted a meta-analysis that showed vitamin E supplementation raised the risk of hemorrhagic stroke by 22%. With age-related blood vessel fragility, the risk of brain hemorrhages from excessively thin blood can increase even further in seniors over 65. You may not even be aware that it is taking place. Unexpected bruising, abrupt lightheadedness, blurred vision, or nosebleeds that are difficult to stop are examples of early warning signals. However, occasionally there is no warning at all, just a sudden blackout or a searing ache in the head. This is the reason synthesized E is so harmful. It accumulates subtly and, in a few days, can change from beneficial to fatal, particularly when combined with dehydration or hypertension. What ought one to do instead? Check each label first. It's synthetic if your supplement contains dull alpha tocopherol. Give it up. Use natural vitamin E from food that is labeled as D-alpha tocopherol with mixed tocopherols instead. Seek formulations that offer full-spectrum brain protection by incorporating gamma and delta tocopherols. Better still, eat actual food to acquire your vitamin E. Over 7 milligrams can be obtained from just 1 ounce of sunflower seeds. Avocados, spinach, hazelnuts, and almonds are also great sources. Additionally, they include the entire antioxidant matrix that your body is capable of using. Before making any modifications, consult your doctor if you are currently using any blood thinners. However, don't wait for symptoms to appear. Eliminating the hidden dangers is the first step in safeguarding your brain's microvessels, which are among the most delicate in the body. Among these is synthetic vitamin E. Let's move on to vitamin number 5, which appears to be completely healthy, but, when taken in excess, can subtly shrink blood vessels inside the brain. The 5th is retinol supplements, vitamin A, or retinol palmitate. High doses of vitamin A, particularly synthetic forms, can silently narrow blood arteries inside the brain, increasing the risk of ischemic stroke and unexpected blood pressure increases. Most seniors are unaware of this. It is typically found in multivitamins that are labeled as retinol palmitate or retinol acetate. It is also occasionally included in supplements for older individuals' eyes or skin. Here's the scary bit, though. The liver is where your body stores this type of vitamin A, and once the levels rise above a certain point, harm may begin without any prior symptoms. Beta-carotene from carrots is not the same as performed vitamin A. The amount that is absorbed is not controlled by your body. Once in your system, it continues to accumulate and is difficult to get rid of. Especially in the brain, where capillaries are already tiny and sensitive, that overabundance begins to poison blood vessel linings. The outcome: oxidative stress, microvascular constriction, and even higher intracranial pressure. According to a 2014 study that was published in Stroke, people who had greater serum retinol levels were far more likely to suffer an ischemic stroke. According to other research, prolonged high-dose vitamin A use can cause symptoms like headaches, nausea, double vision, unexpected nosebleeds, and even seizures. Any indications of increased intracranial pressure brought on by compromised fluid balance and circulation. Seniors are particularly at risk because as you age, your liver's capacity to filter extra nutrients declines. This implies that within weeks or months, even moderate daily dosages of vitamin A can rapidly build up to hazardous levels. Additionally, you may be consuming significantly more than you think, typically 2 or 3 times the recommended intake, if you consume liver, take cod liver oil, or use fortified cereals or milks. What should you do in its place then? First, unless a supplement is indicated for a specific deficit, stay away from any that cite retinol palmitate or retinol as its vitaminous source. Choose beta-carotene from whole foods such as butternut squash, sweet potatoes, spinach, and carrots instead. With the help of these plant-based sources, your body can safely eliminate the excess and only convert what it needs into vitamin A. That change could save a senior's life. Better yet, if you're taking vitamin A to help with your eyesight, think about switching to a blend that contains beta-carotene, lutein, and zeaxanthin, compounds that have been found to protect the eyes without affecting blood flow to the brain. See your doctor right away to get your blood levels and liver enzymes checked if you have been taking synthetic vitamin A for longer than 3 months. Reversing the accumulation is easier the earlier it is detected. Let's now examine vitamin number 4, a well-known brain enhancer that, in reality, has the opposite effect by disrupting the hippocampus's blood flow. Fourth, ginkgo biloba extract, synthetic formulations, or high doses. You may be surprised by this. For many years, ginkgo biloba has been promoted to the elderly as a natural brain booster that can improve memory, focus, and even stop cognitive decline. However, current research shows that it may potentially raise the risk of intracerebral hemorrhage and stroke at greater dosages or in synthetic forms that are not well regulated, particularly in persons over 65 who are also taking blood pressure or blood thinners. What's going on inside your body is shown here. Ginkgolides and bilobalides, which thin the blood and function as desodolators, are substances found in ginkgo biloba. These substances may aid in enhancing blood flow when used in moderation and under close supervision. However, they significantly raise the risk of uncontrollable bleeding in delicate veins, especially in the brain, when taken excessively or in combination with aspirin, warfarin, or even NSAIDs, like ibuprofen. Additionally, the risk is increased in older adults since their artery walls are already thinner and plaque accumulation is more prevalent. High-dose ginkgo supplements were directly linked to a 38% higher risk of hemorrhagic stroke in people over 60, according to a 2018 study published in Neurology. More concerning, a case report published in the Journal of Geriatric Pharmacotherapy described a senior who took ginkgo biloba together with daily low-dose aspirin and experienced spontaneous brain bleeding. Millions of older persons take these medications without realizing the risks. The weed isn't the only problem. It all comes down to combinations, purity, and dosage. Inconsistent levels of active chemicals are included in many over-the-counter ginkgo products, and others are fortified with artificial compounds to increase efficacy. Knowing how much you're actually taking or how it will interact with your meds is practically impossible due to this fluctuation. Ginkgo-related complications can have unexpected symptoms. Elderly people may suddenly feel dizzy, slur their words, become confused, or suddenly get a really bad headache. These are more than merely adverse effects. They might indicate a potentially fatal brain hemorrhage. What is the safe course of action, then? First, stop right away and read the label if you're using ginkgo biloba. Don't trust it if the dosage or source isn't stated explicitly, such as standardized to 24% flavone glycosides and 6% terpene lactones. Consult your physician about safer memory support options, such as low-dose omega-3s, the COPA, or citicoline, particularly if you're also taking blood pressure or blood thinners. And the majority of people are unaware of this. Consistent oxygen delivery is more important for the brain's memory regions, such as the hippocampus, than blood thinning. Therefore, natural foods like beets or arugula that improve respiration, sleep, and nitric oxide levels can improve memory more safely than dangerous herbal shortcuts. Next up is vitamin number 3, a common energy boost that has been connected to risky blood pressure and stroke increases in adults over 65. To ensure that you don't miss any more videos like this, please hit the bell symbol, subscribe, and like the video if you have enjoyed it thus far. And I want to know whether you're with me if you're now watching. If this video resonates with you, type 1 in the comments section. If not, type 0. The third is vitamin B6, which paradoxically comes in excess. Many people believe that vitamin B6 is harmless. It is promoted to seniors to boost metabolism, brain health, and nerves. It can be found in energy drinks and multivitamins. However, 99% of older persons are unaware that excessive doses of B6 can cause quiet nervous system damage and unexpectedly raise your risk of stroke, especially when used for extended periods of time. This is the reason. Vitamin B6 is essential for the synthesis of neurotransmitters and the metabolism of amino acids. However, it becomes neurotoxic when taken in excess of 100 milligrams daily, particularly as a supplement. And for elders, this is crucial. Your liver's ability to eliminate extra water-soluble vitamins declines with age. This implies that what was formerly flushed out can now remain in your bloodstream for a longer period of time, harming nerves, compromising vascular tone, and raising inflammatory stress in your arteries. The risk was established by several research. High-dose B6 users were almost twice as likely to develop sensory neuropathy, a form of nerve damage that results in tingling, numbness, and unstable gait, according to a 2017 study published in Clinical Nutrition that tracked over 5,000 elderly people. The vascular connection, however, was more startling. Long-term B6 supplementation, particularly when paired with other B vitamins, has been shown to paradoxically raise homocysteine levels in certain people. Homocysteine is a hazardous amino acid that is directly connected to arterial inflammation and stroke, according to research published in the Stroke Journal. The symptoms frequently appear suddenly. Elderly people may have tremors, numbness in their legs or feet, or abrupt lightheadedness upon standing. Even if your blood pressure and cholesterol are normal, excessive homocysteine can increase the risk of ischemic stroke by silently stiffening arteries in the brain. The issue? Many elderly people are overdosing without realizing it. B6 is concealed in energy drinks, fortified cereals, multivitamins, and individual nerve supplements. When you add everything up, you might be taking 200 to 300 milligrams a day, which is 3 times the maximum amount that is safe. What are you able to do? Start by calculating your overall B6 consumption from all of your supplements. Examine each bottle's back. You may be in danger if the daily total exceeds 50 to 100 milligrams. Next, request a homocysteine test from your physician. If it's high, reduce your intake of B6 and boost your intake of folate and B12 from foods like eggs and leafy greens. Most importantly, stay away from time-released B6 supplements since they can accumulate in your body without causing any symptoms until it's too late. Next up is vitamin number 2, which most seniors take daily without realizing that it can increase your risk of stroke by more than 30%, particularly if you're over 65. The second is synthetic alpha-tocopherol, or vitamin E. The majority of seniors think vitamin E is good for the heart. It is promoted as a potent anti-aging, brain-boosting, and antioxidant. Here's the startling reality, though. High dosages of synthetic vitamin E can significantly increase your risk of stroke, particularly the most deadly type known as a hemorrhagic stroke. The scary thing is that almost all senior over-the-counter multivitamins include the synthetic type without telling you. There is more than one nutrient in vitamin E. 8 distinct chemicals make up this family, including 4 tocopherols and 4 tocotrienols. However, synthetic alpha-tocopherol, also known as dull alpha-tocopherol acetate, is the only kind used in almost all supplements. In addition to being less bioavailable, this form of vitamin E replaces the other, healthier forms in your body. Additionally, the accumulation of that imbalance weakens your clotting reaction, thins your blood, and raises your risk of internal bleeding, particularly in the brain. Researchers tracked nearly 29,000 men who took synthetic vitamin E supplements in a large clinical experiment called the ATBC study. The results showed a 22% higher risk of hemorrhagic stroke. More than 400 international units of vitamin E per day were associated with a considerably greater risk of all-cause mortality, particularly from bleeding complications, according to another study published in JMA. Seniors who already have thinner blood, weaker artery walls, and frequently take aspirin or other anticoagulants are at significantly greater risk, which can result in unexpected brain hemorrhages. Hemorrhagic stroke symptoms can come on unexpectedly and include paralysis, vision loss, severe headaches, and trouble speaking. The actual risk, however, is that the bleeding has already started by the time symptoms appear. Additionally, the odds suddenly rise when synthetic vitamin E thins your blood in a silent manner every day. The majority of seniors are unaware that they are taking synthetic E. The synthetic type is called dull alpha-tocopherol, if that is what the label indicates. The natural form, known as D-alpha-tocopherol, in the safest dosage, ideally combined with other tocopherols and tocotrienols, is what you want instead. Unless otherwise directed, limit your daily intake to fewer than 150 international units. Steer clear of using high-dose vitamin E supplements if you are on warfarin, aspirin, or any other blood thinner. Instead, concentrate on foods that include natural balanced vitamin E, such as avocado, spinach, almonds, and sunflower seeds, as well as complementary elements that work together to protect rather than damage. However, we are now at the top, and it's a complete surprise. The majority of doctors advise taking this vitamin daily. However, in older adults, it can backfire so badly that some neurologists are now warning that it may be causing a rise in dangerous blood clots, cognitive loss, and microstrokes. Let's make it public. First place, injections of vitamin B12. When taken in excess, cyanocobalamin is formed. Given that vitamin B12 is frequently hailed as the best vitamin for the brain, this may surprise you. Indeed, it is extremely necessary for many seniors, particularly if you are inadequate. Here's the horrifying twist, though. Cyanocobalamin, the most often used injectable type, can actually increase your risk of stroke by thickening your blood, causing significant homocysteine spikes, and flooding your body with harmful byproducts like cyanide derivatives when taken in excess or too frequently. Let's dissect this. The most popular and least expensive type of vitamin B12 is cyanocobalamin. Thousands of multivitamins include it, and it is injected in clinics all over the world. However, the human body does not naturally contain this form. Your liver must change it into methylcobalamin or etnosylcobalamin in order for it to be usable, which causes a tiny amount of cyanide to be released. This is normally easily detoxified by your body. However, The capacity to eliminate this is much diminished in older persons with compromised liver or renal function. It accumulates over time, causing blood vessel tension and impairing brain circulation. According to a 2020 study that was published in Stroke, seniors who had high vitamin B12 levels, particularly those who regularly received cyanocobalamin injections, were 5 times more likely to experience an ischemic stroke, particularly if they also consumed a lot of folic acid. Surprisingly, this combination causes endothelial dysfunction and raises blood viscosity, making your blood vessels more likely to clot and less able to carry oxygen to the areas that need it most. What symptoms are present? Although they are aware of the early warning symptoms, many seniors are unaware of the connection. Following a B12 injection, sudden disorientation, one-sided weakness, facial drooping, changes in eyesight, or even lightheadedness could not be coincidental. A microstroke or full-blown ischemic event can happen suddenly when the blood is too thick, or a tiny clot becomes stuck in a constricted artery. To be clear, a true B12 shortage is serious, and you should definitely get treatment if you have one. However, such care must be intelligent. Your brain actually employs methylcobalamin, which is the active version that doesn't release cyanide. Yes, it costs more, but it's more safer to use over time. Additionally, unless your doctor has verified a true deficit through a blood test, be wary of loading dosages or high-dose pills exceeding 1,000 micrograms. A dose of 250 to 500 micrograms of methylcobalamin 2 or 3 times a week is usually sufficient and far less dangerous for general maintenance. You may want to examine your homocysteine levels if you have been receiving frequent B12 shots and you also have high blood pressure, thick blood, memory issues, or a history of stroke. Increased levels are an obvious indication that something has to happen with your B12 processing. Before we conclude, this is your takeaway. Particularly after age 60, a vitamin's popularity does not necessarily indicate its safety. The majority of stroke risk is not caused by dietary deficiencies. It results from incorrect dosages, forms, or combinations. Tell us in the comments if this surprised you. Which of these vitamins do you currently take, and are you considering switching to a different one? Every remark is read, and we reply with tailored health advice for seniors who want to maintain their independence, vitality, and wits. Additionally, if you thought this was helpful, click the subscribe button now and enable notifications. You won't want to miss our next films, particularly the one in which we reveal the 7 supplement stacks that are causing illnesses in seniors. We'll see you at the next one, and remain informed and safe. And I want to know whether you're with me if you're now watching. If this video resonates with you, type 1 in the comments section. If not, type 0. Please leave your thoughts and experiences in the comments section below. Thank you for